Thank you very much for those updates, Kasia. Nadine has a look at the storms moving across southern Ontario coming up in just a moment. We'll begin in Saskatchewan, where there is this line of thunderstorms developing, pushing toward Wynyard, but it's really starting to weaken. The biggest story across the province in the southeast, all of that rain. Regina, Saskatoon, both hitting around 20-21 degrees today. Not necessarily that hot or humid to produce really nasty thunderstorms, but the potential is still there through the overnight, even into early tomorrow morning, to see these thunderstorms firing up. Whereas in Alberta, we're actually already seeing some thunderstorms, and the risk is certainly still there for tomorrow, but the better chance for Sunday is definitely going to be across central and southern Saskatchewan. But let's go back to where the warnings are in Alberta. Drumheller, for example, Kneehill County, dime to ping pong ball sized hail is certainly possible, heavy amounts of rain and stronger winds. And you can see a number of the cells here just to the north of Calgary, quite a bit of lightning being reported in the area as well. But what I'm wondering is, if you know anybody north of Banff, there's actually some blue being picked up on the radar. The blue equals snow. I know we're heading into the the Labor Day long weekend, and it looks as though there is some snow. But you can see here that's specifically the cell that is warned by Environment Canada heading toward Drumheller in the next 10 to 20 minutes. So if you're in the area, heads up, get the kids inside. And as I mentioned, for a closer look at what's happening with these thunderstorms in Ontario, Nadine has the latest details. And by the way, Nadine, as you know, there are currently no warnings in place
of Lake Huron. So, Natalie, that's the Ontario story for now, but certainly we're a few hours behind across the west, and still quite a lot of active weather to come.
There is, although I have some good news, Nadine. In Alberta specifically, all of the severe thunderstorm watches have come to an end, with the exception of Drumheller and Hannah, which is exactly where we have the most active weather right now. In Drumheller, there is actually a severe thunderstorm warning, up to ping pong ball sized hail possible. The storms are moving to the southeast at about 35 kilometers per hour. They're fast moving. They can drop a lot of rain, strong winds quickly, and then it is gone. But I really wanted to point this out on the radar as well. Blue on the radar indicates snow, if you've forgotten, since last, we'll say spring, but last winter. And we are getting some reports of snow at the higher elevations just to the north of Banff, specifically in the provincial or the national park area. What's interesting, though, is, as Nadine mentioned, there's still the potential for thunderstorms to fire up into Sunday morning. Same thing in through Saskatchewan, although the biggest story right now is all of that rain. One of our viewers in around Estevan saying that the rain is really starting to wrap up. We'll have more details in a moment. And east of Calgary, Drumheller specifically under the severe thunderstorm warning right now. Environment Canada saying dime to ping pong ball sized hail likely. If you see this all push through your community, of course, heavy rain, strong winds, and the storm is moving pretty quickly. So you can see this here. It's north now, well to the east of Calgary. If we zoom into the radar, you can see it there. In the Drumheller area specifically, you're likely seeing those dark skies already, the lightning, hearing the thunder, and again, heavy rain, ping pong ball sized hail not out of the question. The good news I can give you is that most of the severe thunderstorm watches have come to an end. Drumheller and Hannah are still included, but I think as those cells die down in the Drumheller area, that's kind of going to be it. We're not saying that there won't be a pop-up thunder shower or two as we head into early Sunday morning, and same thing for Saskatchewan, but for the most part, the risk of this severe weather is really going to die down over the next couple of hours. At this point in time, it's just some rain in through Saskatchewan in the southeast corner. I know in Estevan, a lot of our viewers are saying, you know what, the rain is kind of tapering off right now. But then we're going to do it all again tomorrow in Saskatchewan in particular, where the risk for thunderstorms is there through the afternoon and evening. And of course, Nadine, the other big story, thunderstorms in Ontario.
Yes, certainly. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Storm clouds. There were severe thunderstorm watches and warnings in Kingston earlier. They have since come to an end. In fact, most of the watches have come to an end, except in around Goderich and in around Kincardine, so around the shores of Lake Huron. You can see that that is the line of thunderstorms we are most concerned about at this point in time. Zooming in a little closer, you can see rain showers through cottage country, but all of the watches have come to an end. It's just this line of thunderstorms here. As I mentioned, most of the watches have come to an end. What we really have to focus on is the risk for these thunderstorms continuing. It's a cold front pushing through, and so that risk for thunderstorm reaches the GTA early tomorrow morning. It will continue to push further east, increasing the risk for thunderstorms further east. So it is fairly widespread through the overnight, not necessarily seeing severe thunderstorms, but thunderstorms nonetheless. And then as things heat up again through the day tomorrow, that risk for thunderstorms will continue. Speaking of severe thunderstorms, just outside of Calgary in Drumheller, the severe thunderstorm warning continues. Ping pong ball sized hail possible. That story's ahead.
Visit our new
As our active weather coverage continues, I just wanted to update you, and we'll get to Ontario's thunderstorms in just a moment, but a lot of warnings have come to an end in Alberta. We've been tracking this cell in around the Drumheller area. You can see it here. At this point in time, Drumheller is now out of the warning, but still in around Hanna and around Starland County, we still have that warning in effect. Once the cell pushes through, though, I think we're okay as far as severe thunderstorms are concerned. That's not to say there won't be some nasty thunderstorms still over the next several hours, but reaching severe criteria. You can see why Drumheller is now being dropped from the warning because the cell's essentially past your town already. The biggest threat with these thunderstorms at this point in time, about dime to ping pong ball sized hail is what Environment Canada says, strong wind gusts, and of course heavy amounts of rain. And there have been reports of some pretty frequent lightning as well. That risk, as I mentioned, will continue right through early Sunday morning, but that's not to say there'll be really severe thunderstorms, some rain, some stronger winds, some thunder and lightning, and that goes through southern and central Saskatchewan as well, especially getting closer to the Manitoba border. If we just take a look at this radar in Saskatchewan, you can see a lot of the thunderstorm activity has really died down. It's these steady showers now pushing out of Estevan. We had a number of our viewers in the Estevan area saying, you know what, the rain is pretty much tapered off here and we're seeing a beautiful sunset. So that's the good news, looking at a decent start to the day tomorrow. Now, we do have the risk for thunderstorms tomorrow across parts of Alberta, specifically in the north and then into Saskatchewan. That would be our biggest threat for thunderstorms across the west. There is a bigger threat in Ontario. So let's take you to Ontario next and really set the scene for you. This was heavy rain coming down in the Kingston area earlier today. Our good friend Chris St. Clair sent us in a bunch of video. He was out almost doing a little storm chasing, I think, even though we took the weekend off. He just can't stop loving the weather, and that's why we love him so much. Okay, so Kingston out of the severe thunderstorm watch at this point in time. Really, it's only around the shores of Lake Huron that we're currently worried about. There's certainly some rain showers, a bit of lightning through cottage country, but it's this line of thunderstorms pushing across Lake Huron that we're most concerned about. There's also, and you can see it here just south of Simcoe, a cell passing over Lake Erie. It could pack quite the punch. So in around the Dunnville area, we are looking at the potential for a nasty thunderstorm heading your way. But there's the watch, very isolated to the shores of Lake Huron. Again, heavy rain, frequent lightning, small hail, certainly some strong winds, not out of the question. And that risk pushes across southern Ontario through the night. We'll keep you up to date on the thunderstorms. We are going to take a look at those thunderstorms pushing through southern Ontario first. We essentially have a low pressure system bringing a lot of rain to cottage country at this point in time, and then the cold front is creating all of those thunderstorms. Hottest spot in all of Canada today near Niagara and Vineland. Nearly 32 degrees. So it's hot, it's humid, you have a cold front swinging through, and that's when you always get the right ingredients for thunderstorms. If we zoom into the radar a little bit more, you can see it's just this line of thunderstorms. That's where all of our severe thunderstorm watches are at this point in time. Kingston's been dropped, cottage country has been dropped. So Environment Canada just really concerned about that line of thunderstorms right now. And it's not to say that we're not going to see the thunderstorms continuing to progress through the overnight. They just likely won't meet that severe warning criteria. So we won't have rotation. We won't have large hail over 2 centimeters in diameter or winds gusting over 90 kilometers per hour. There is one thing I wanted to just give you a heads up about in the long range forecast. This next system, this cold front in particular, making its way across the prairies right now, by the time Tuesday comes around, it's going to become a very deep low and could bring some nasty weather to southern Ontario for the first day of school. So we'll talk a little bit more about that over the next couple of days. I want to shift our attention though, and again, we can still see thunderstorms in southern Ontario today and again through the day tomorrow, but I want to get to these thunderstorms in Alberta. First of all, on the radar, green is rain, blue is snow, and we have been seeing blue popping up in around Banff over the last couple of hours. Now, we haven't had any reports of snow, but certainly on the radar indicating that at the higher elevations we may actually be seeing some snow, and we have not hit September yet. But it's that thunderstorm cell that I was mentioning in around Drumheller that has Environment Canada warning that cell. It's pushed out of Drumheller now, but in around Hanna we still have that severe thunderstorm watch. The risk of thunderstorms will continue certainly over the next few hours, but they shouldn't be as severe in nature. We'll have more details in a few minutes. Storm clouds rolling in off of the water. It must be a little scary, and panic must set in. Now, the good news is we're not looking at these really intense thunderstorms at this point in time, but we are looking at potentially severe thunderstorms, at least with this line. And that's what Mark was saying. There's still thunderstorms rolling in off the shores of Lake Huron, and that will likely be a story right through the night. There are severe thunderstorm watches. There are no severe thunderstorm warnings. So that is the good news if you're thinking, I just want to go to bed. Should I stay up? Should I be worried? At this point in time, I think it's safe safe to go to bed. We'll certainly keep everyone up to date if any warnings do develop, but these thunderstorms, as Mark was suggesting, should weaken a little bit as we head through the overnight. Here comes that cold front. It was hot and humid through the day today. When you get that cold air mass colliding with the warm air mass, you get the risk for isolated and potentially severe thunderstorms. But again, we've lost that daytime heating. The storm should not be severe as we head through the overnight, but the risk is still there for some pretty decent thunderstorms into early Sunday morning. We also have the risk for thunderstorms through the day Sunday and the risk for thunderstorms across the prairies. This was in Moden. And this was earlier through the day today, storm clouds developing. At this point in time, there are a few severe thunderstorm warnings in around Kneehill County. For example, Drumheller is now out. That's the cell of concern. And once that has really moved out of the area, I think the risk for severe thunderstorms has really died down as well. Areas in yellow still potentially seeing a thunderstorm, just not necessarily a severe thunderstorm. So some rain, some thunder and lightning. And even in Saskatchewan, I wouldn't rule out an isolated lightning strike, isolated thunder shower. But at this point in time, it's just rain showers now making its way into Brandon over the next hour or so. We'll have more details on these storms coming up. Most of the severe thunderstorm watches and warnings in Alberta have come to an end, even for the town of Drumheller. You are no longer in the warning because the cell has pushed past. There are still severe thunderstorm watches in around Hannah, though, and the risk is certainly there to see that cell, and you can see it right there pushing well to the east of Drumheller at this point. You can see it really dying down. There's no more purples or pinks within the cell. It's just some rain at this point in time and stronger winds and obviously some thunder and some lightning. Now, the risk is still going to be there through parts of Alberta and southeastern Saskatchewan to maybe see some thunderstorms firing up through the overnight. But notice we don't have, severe labeled on there. As we have lost all of that daytime heating, there could still be some thunderstorms. They just won't be reaching the severe criteria. And in Saskatchewan, it hasn't really been a nasty thunderstorm kind of day. It's been mostly a rain event. And you can see here the rain now making its way, and we'll even shift, I think, this radar over in the next few minutes so you can get a better idea. But for Brandon in particular, in the next 45 minutes or so, the rain is going to be making its way toward you. Now, through the day tomorrow, we're looking at the risk. I'm going to go back one because I clicked it one too many times there. The risk for thunderstorms will fire back up again through tomorrow afternoon, more so in Saskatchewan as opposed to Alberta, but we still have you in the risk across the north. Again, it doesn't look like a severe kind of event. I wouldn't rule out a severe cell or two, but just your general kind of thunderstorms through the day tomorrow. Okay, I mentioned thunderstorms in Ontario, so we're going to go there next and update you on what's happening southern Ontario just yet. But in the north, through the Nickel Belt, through Cottage Country, for example, and Elliott Lake, we've seen rain more than anything else. All of the severe thunderstorm watches through Cottage Country have come to an end. It's predominantly just a rain event at this point in time, but through the day tomorrow, even starting early tomorrow morning, we could see some isolated thunderstorms. Earlier, we had some severe thunderstorm warnings in around Kingston. Those have all come to an end. It's essentially just this line on the shores of Lake Huron and off of Erie, and you can see now pushing off the lake and through Niagara region. There are a couple of little cells to watch for. If you're in the area, we'd love to hear from you on the storm line. 1-800-463-WIND is the number, and just let us know what you're seeing. And I know it's dark outside, so you won't be seeing much, but give us your eyes on the ground reports. So again, Niagara region, the shores of Lake Huron are the biggest concerns at this point in time. Our only watches around the shores of Lake Huron, including Godrich, where storm hunter Mark Robinson is right now. Through tomorrow morning, the risk for thunderstorms will continue, and then again through the afternoon and evening. So it's going to be another stormy day. Not everyone is going to see a thunderstorm. It's just that the ingredients are there. It's going to be another hot and humid day, though, and we'll talk more about that coming up. Okay, Mark, don't stay up too late. It looks as though the strongest of the thunderstorms are probably over. There are still severe thunderstorm watches along the shores of Lake Huron. There are no warnings in place, and we may not see any warnings as we head through the overnight. That's not to say they won't be strong thunderstorms continuing, and that's what Mark's talking about, a line of thunderstorms behind the one in Godrich right now. Again, it's not to say that there won't be more thunderstorms. There likely will. They just won't be severe criteria with heavy amounts of rain and damaging winds and large-sized hail. So again, there are some severe thunderstorm watches still in place along the shores of Huron. It all has to do with this cold front as it swings through. It's been a hot and humid day. It's going to be hot and humid again tomorrow. By the way, hottest spot in all of Canada today is Vineland, hit about 32 degrees. That's in the Niagara region. So again, it's hot and humid, and the risk for thunderstorms will continue through the day tomorrow. And then for back to school, we have to watch out for that low pressure system. It's going to become a very deep low, and by Tuesday, we could be seeing some pretty nasty weather right across southern northern and eastern Ontario. So risk for thunderstorms today, tonight, and through the day tomorrow, I should say. But let's shift our attention now to the west. There is still a severe thunderstorm warning. It's past Drumheller at this point, and that cell is really starting to die down. So at this point in time, I wouldn't really be worried about severe thunderstorms across the prairies. There will still be thunderstorms through the overnight, specifically in the Calgary area. Not necessarily in Calgary, but the risk is certainly still there. Same thing in southeastern Saskatchewan. At this point in time, and we did move the radar over for you if you've been joining us over the last half hour, at this point in time, the heaviest rain is now crossing the border. So on the doorstep of Brandon in the next half hour or so, we could be seeing those steady rain showers moving in, Dauphin as well. And it is mostly a rain event. Temperatures haven't been too warm across the prairies, in the low 20s today. Same thing through the day tomorrow, if not a degree or two cooler. And again, we still have that risk for thunderstorms in Saskatchewan through the day tomorrow, so we'll have a busy day ahead. Don't go anywhere. Our active weather coverage continues. Earlier today, when there was a severe thunderstorm watch and warning in place for Kingston, it has since come to an end. We wanted to focus on this for just a moment because not only was the Niagara region home to the hottest weather in all of Canada today, Vineland hit nearly 32 degrees. It felt a lot warmer with the humidity, but we're also seeing this thunderstorm now firing up just outside of Dunnville, heading toward Port Colborne. For people in Font Hill, for example, heading toward Niagara Falls. This is one of the more strong cells across the entire country, to be honest with you. Heavy rain, thunder, lightning. I wouldn't rule out some strong wind gusts as well. But the bigger threat at this point in time, besides that cell in Niagara region, is this line of thunderstorms pushing across Lake Huron, and that's where we do have severe thunderstorm watches in place, just in and around the shores, including Goderich, where storm hunter Mark Robinson has been checking in with us from the area. At this point in time, I don't think there are going to be severe thunderstorm warnings through the overnight, meaning that there will still be thunderstorms as the cold front swings through. They just might not be severe criteria. I'll break down that criteria in just a moment.
Visit our new